right, sixth graders. So today we are going to talk about putting numbers in order, and specifically we are going to talk about rational numbers. And I need you to understand that rational numbers are our fractions and decimals. So specifically putting fractions and decimals in order. We will also have positive and negative numbers in this as well. So that's just what rational numbers are, okay? So the first thing we need to remember that all numbers must be converted, and the word converted is changed to decimals. Everything needs to be turned into a decimal before we put them in order, okay? So when we are putting numbers in order, everything needs to be a decimal. And when we are comparing those decimals, the easiest thing is going to be thinking of money. And when I say that, I mean we need $0.00 like this. So when we're doing this, I need a number in the front, decimal, and 2 decimal places in the back. If we make everything look like money, it will help us when we're comparing stuff, okay? So let's go to the inside and actually practice, okay? So Dana placed the following points on a number line. So point P, Q, R, and S. So if we look, we have those points on the number line. Which point is not correctly placed? So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to label these points. So P is obviously at -8. That one's pretty easy. Q, though, is in the middle of 2 numbers, okay? So first of all, this is going to be a negative because it's on the negative side. Now, this is where some of my 6th graders get confused. I am between 3 and 4. 3 and 4. So over here on the positive side, that might be a little bit easier for you to think about. What is between 3 and 4? Right in the middle. 3 and 4. It is 3.5. Between 3 and 4 is -3.5. And then R is also in the middle of 3 and 4, but this time it's on the positive side, so it's positive 3.5. And then S is very easily on 5. So the question says, which is not correctly placed? So up here, all of my numbers are fractions, and I just told you everything needs to be decimals. So how do we turn fractions into decimals? So D, F, P, fractions into decimals is cowboy and horse. So we need a cowboy and horse, these numbers. So point P, that negative is just gonna stay there, okay? It's gonna be a negative. And then I just cowboy and horse the 24/3. Okay, I'm gonna do that down here where I have room. 24, 3, 2 dinner plates. 3 does not go into 2. 3 people cannot sit in 2 chairs. Goes into 24 8 times, which gives me 24. So my answer is -8, which P, if we look down here, is indeed at -8. So that one is correct. We want not. So moving on to Q. So my next one, again, is a negative. Negative stays there. And then we're going to cowboy and horse. So back down here, 9 and 2. 2 people can sit in 9 chairs 4 times. That gives me 8. 9 minus 8 is 1. Do not forget decimal, then 0. Take off your boots, put up your hat, then eat a donut. Okay, 2 goes into 10 5 times, gives me 10, so -4.5. And we just said that Q is at 3.5, not 4.5. So which point is not correctly placed? Point Q. And I don't even need to keep going because I just proved it with my work. okay? Whoop, sorry. Next question. Which list shows the temperature, okay, temperature in order from coldest to warmest in degrees Fahrenheit? So cold weather is going to be negative, warm weather is going to be positive. And you cannot go negative, positive, negative. That's not a thing. In temperature, I usually try to think of, ooh, that was not a good line, of a vertical number line, okay? So if zero's here, my positives are up here, my negatives are down here. So that can kind of help you think. My warm numbers are up here, my cold are down here, okay? So let's just get rid of some silly answers. So like I just said, A goes from a negative to a positive to a negative. So can I go negative, positive, negative? No, that's not in order. So A is a Joe. You cannot go negative, positive, negative. B goes negative, negative, positive, positive. So that one's okay. C, negative, negative, positive, positive. D, 0, negative, positive, negative. So those are both Joes. Okay, now I really need you listening here. When it is cold outside, the colder the negative, the bigger the negative. So on the number line, -5 would be here, -10 would be even further down because -10 is colder than -5. So which one's the coldest? -10, so C is the correct answer, okay? The bigger the negative, the colder you are. All right, next question. The students in Coach Challenger's class must complete at least 40 math problems for homework every week. The table shows the progress of 4 students on Wednesday. So we have Eddie, Lizbeth, Ailani, and Jose. Order the amounts of homework completed from least to greatest. So we want small to big. And again, I told you all of these numbers need to be decimals. So everything needs to be a decimal. And everything, ooh, that does not have 2 L's. Everything needs to be in this form. It needs to look like money. So Eddie is already a decimal, but he does not have 2 decimal places. So I am going to add a 0 on the back of Eddie so he has 2 decimal places, okay? Lizbeth is a fraction, and we turn fractions into decimals by cowboy and horse, okay? So let's cowboy and horse. Let's do that. Let's do that over here. So 45 goes inside, 40 goes out. Okay, 2 dinner plates. 40 cannot go into 4 chairs. It goes into 45 one time. Subtract, get 5. Decimal donut. Okay, 40 goes into 50 one time again, gives me 40. 10. Now I can just add another donut because I already have my decimal. 40 goes into 100 2 times, gives me 80. Now, I can stop because my decimal looks like money. I am not done. I know you could add another donut, but I only need to look like money. So my decimal for this one is 1.12 because I want it to look like money. Okay? Now, I have a percent. We need to turn that percent into a decimal. So DFP. I have not taught you this part yet, so I really need your eyes, okay? I have taught you how to turn a decimal into a percent by going 2 hops this way. Are you listening? Okay. We can go backwards on this one, only this one. We can turn a percent into a decimal by going 2 hops forward. So this only works on this one. Our other arrows are still the same. Those don't change. This only works for percent to decimal. So if I want to turn a percent into a decimal, I can put my decimal and move it forward 2 hops. So on 100%, my invisible decimal is at the back, and I go 1, 2 hops. So this equals 1.00. And that makes sense because if my battery is at 100%, I have 1 whole battery. Okay? On Jose, I have a percent to a decimal. So this one already has a decimal. So I still do 2 hops, 1, 2. So this is 0.652, but I want it to look like money, so I need to add that 0 on the front. And then technically, I just want the 6 and the 5. So now this looks like money. Okay, so let's write everybody out so this makes sense. Okay, so Eddie was 0.40. Lizbeth was $1.12. Alani was just $1. And Jose was $0.65. So now that everybody is a decimal, now this makes sense and we're good to go. Okay, so small to big. So smallest is what money? Okay, Eddie, because he only had 40 cents. Okay, Eddie's gone. Now Jose was 65 cents. Alani was $1. Oops, sorry. I'm supposed to be writing Alani. And then last was Lizbeth. She had the most money. So once you get everything to look like money, it becomes very easy. Okay. Last one. I know this is a long one. Okay? I'm going to try to go through this one as quick as I can. It says, which number makes the inequality true? So the first thing I need you to realize is we have these alligators. Okay? So these alligators tell me that the alligator eats the bigger side. So this is the small side because the alligators are eating the bigger numbers. So that means this is the bigger side. So this is a piece. So this number has to be bigger than negative 2.6. This number has to be bigger than this. This number has to be bigger than 1 over 10. So everything still needs to look like money, okay? So first of all, negative 2.6 needs to be 2.60. 1/10, this was on our cheat sheet quiz, 1/10 as a decimal is 0.10. So now that those are money, we need to go up here and make these look like money. So on 0.015, I need to get rid of that 5. So this is 1 cent. This one is good to go. 1/2 was also on our cheat sheet. It was 0.50. And then 11 over 4, we would actually have to cowboy and horse that, and it would give us our decimal. Okay, so if we did cowboy and horse that, I'm just going to give it to you for the sake of time. That would be negative 2.75. Okay, now that these are all decimals, we could put them in order. So we would have 2 answer choices that would go here. Okay, we're not going to do that. That is how we would solve this. Okay, everything needs to look like money.